The Jeep Wrangler is an iconic off-road SUV. Does its rugged presence translate into high levels of safety? Let's find out as we watch the Wrangler experience some of the world's most demanding crash tests. First up is the small overlap crash test. In this test, 25% of the vehicle's width strikes a barrier at 40 miles per hour, which concentrates the force in a small area. This test really challenges a vehicle's crumple zones and structure, and tells us how well it does at keeping intrusion out of the cabin. The Wrangler is the most dramatic vehicle to ever undergo testing in this evaluation. It unbelievably flipped onto its side. This is both an unexpected and unacceptable outcome for a frontal collision and greatly increases the risk for injuries. To make matters worse, the side airbags failed to deploy, which leaves the driver's head and torso unprotected. The dummy's lower left leg and foot experienced high crash forces. In all, the Wrangler's performance in this test is a spectacular failure, and it scores the second lowest rating of marginal. Next up is the updated moderate overlap crash test. This test contains a dummy in the rear to give us valuable information about how backseat passengers are protected in a frontal collision. Unfortunately, things don't improve for the Jeep in this test. It scored the lowest rating of poor in this evaluation. Sensors from the rear seat dummy indicate a high risk of injury to the head or neck and chest. The lap portion of the seatbelt dangerously shifted from the pelvis, where it should remain throughout the crash, to the abdomen. The rear dummy's head also came into close contact with the front seat back. Let's switch gears and look at the updated side impact test. This evaluation recreates what would happen if the Wrangler was struck on its side by a 4,200-pound SUV at 37 miles per hour. Things continue to not go well in this evaluation. The space between the B-pillar and seat center line is an adequate 19 centimeters. What pulled the Jeep's score down was the complete lack of rear seat head protection. There are no side curtain airbags on the Wrangler, and as a result, the rear dummy's head struck the window frame. This is extremely dangerous as it exposes the rear passengers' heads to high injury risks. Having a strong roof is crucial during a rollover crash, as it helps to maintain the occupant's survival space and reduce the risk of injury or death. The Wrangler withstood just over 22,600 pounds of peak force, which is enough to earn the highest rating of good. Let's examine the technologies that can help avoid collisions. An automatic emergency braking system uses cameras or sensors to detect an imminent collision and autonomously applies the brakes. Jeep's optional system underwent testing at speeds of 12 and 25 miles per hour. At both speeds, the vehicle came to a complete stop. Disappointingly, the system does not come standard on the Wrangler. Let's now evaluate the performance of the headlights, as they play a crucial role in reducing the extra hazards that driving at night can pose. The Wrangler is confusingly available with 4 different headlight options. This is truly a case of quantity over quality because all 4 variants are subpar. The highest performing ones are the LED projectors, but even these ones only score the second lowest rating of marginal. Both the low and high beams have inadequate range in all straightaway and curved scenarios. The inadequate low beam range is partially mitigated by automatic high beams that fill in some but not all of these gaps. Unfortunately, the other 3 headlight variants do even worse. Overall, if you value safety, the Jeep Wrangler is a terrible option. It flips onto its side in the small overlap test. It has poor rear seat protection in the updated moderate overlap test, and a complete lack of any head protection in the updated side impact test. To make matters worse, every headlight variant has inadequate illumination, which increases the risk for a nighttime collision. If you're looking for an alternative, a competing vehicle, the Ford Bronco makes a much safer option. If you found this valuable, please subscribe to see more resourceful videos about auto safety.